Hi guys, and welcome to another lesson in advanced woodscraft. In this one we're going to deal with the double ridge line. Now you probably haven't heard that term before, or it may apply differently. But I learned this technique as a way to trap air in cold conditions. Now here's what I'm going to do. We're going to set this up in a minute, and I'm going to be utilizing a poncho, because that's how I was showed to originally do it. And instead of having a single ridge line, we're going to go around both trees to form a double ridge line, one continuous loop, okay? But rather than those being at equal level, one is higher than the other. The reason for this is, and this technique is used when you're ground pounding and you're trying to be down low underneath a small tarp shelter and you're trying to trap warm air with a fire directly in front of you, okay? If you have a tarp on an angle like this, heat projects in and then it rolls up. As it warms this surface, heat rises, it goes up and it goes out. If you flat top it a little bit, it comes and hooks over and then goes out. But if you do like this, which is what the double ridge line does, the warm air comes in, it goes up, and then it gets this circular rotation. As new air's coming in, new heat's coming in, this heat rolls around, is caught and brought back. And you get this rolling action of trapping warm air inside your shelter. Now I have used this many times to good effect down into the teens in a hammock on the ground with a fire in front of me, where I would set the hammock up very, very close to the ground and pack underneath me debris like leaves and stuff like that, and then build a Siberian log fire out in front of me to project that heat back. And having my shelter do that guaranteed that the heat would roll around me rather than being just lost. Okay? So let's shift over and let me show you the ridge line, and then we're going to set up and we'll show you the completed shelter. Okay, here's the ridge line. Now I'm using mule tape for this because I wanted you to see it instead of just being bank line. What I've done is simply gone all the way around both trees. And I want trees that are at least 8 or 10 inches thick. So the gap between these two is somewhere between 8 to 10 or 12 inches. So the roof is that wide for this roll over. And this is going to be a small, tight shelter that's trying to trap as much heat for me in the winter. So I will put a link right up here to that original hammock video that shows how I set this up in the past. But I want you to see this now, learning the ridge line technique. Instead of them being level, I've made this one lower than this one. All I had to do is once I got it up there and it was sort of tight, I shifted, pulling this one higher and pushing this one lower on both trees, and then pulling it up tight, making a couple of inches clearances different. Now I'm going to take my poncho shelter. I got my stakes. I got my ridge line already in there. And this is set up to be a quick deploy tarp. This is the one I used in the quick deploy of Advanced. Take that off, put it on the wrist, open it up. Now we're going to open this all the way up and set it up. Now we're going to drape front over. Notice that this is going to be the front. It's going to be higher. So when it comes from that side, just make your life easier. I'm going to put it over, center it up where I want my shelter to be. Take that cord so I don't lose it. Hook it to the line, move it out of the way. So I'm going to take my two front tops and anchor them first, then pull the back out. I'll take my quick deploy stakes, come through my grommet, pass back through. I am now connected, and I will pull out and stake down. I want that front to overlap at least 4, 5, 6 inches. Take my second one, pull the tarp straight out and tight. Again, an overlap of 6 or 7 inches, 8 inches. Attach the stake, pull it out so it's even. Put it down. Now take my back 2 stakes and walk around to the back of it. I'm going to secure the back. With a speed loop, with the loop in the end of my guy line, where all I got to do is just pass it over the stake and I'm hooked real quick and easy. Now pull her, she's set, take her all the way down, spiral this one all the way tight, and take it to the ground, putting it in. Pull everything snug. Push it down in the ground. Now, since this is a poncho, we're going to bring the hood to this side and we would cinch it up snug. Notice this angle right here. Okay? Now let's come around to the front of it. Okay, now you see how this front piece comes down. As the heat would come under, because my fire is going to be about 3 or 4 feet away this way. Far enough that I'm not going to get sparks, but I want that warm air to come under. I'm going to go inside with you in a second. But it rolls around and comes up that back, and this secondary peak, instead of it being like that, it's like that. And it forces that convection to get in a circle. And so that heat flows down, catches the next wave, and this up here becomes a trapped, radiated warm air radiating down on your sleeping body. It also means that when I sit up in it, and I'll show you that in a second, I got a lot more headroom in here instead of that narrow V. Okay, and this is us inside. Here's Ridgeline A, here's Ridgeline B. Notice this makes this a nice wide, even for an old redneck with a hat on. I'm sitting in here and I have more headroom. Okay, instead of it being like that, I've done this with it. Now that heat, as it comes in here to hitting this back wall, it's going to rise up. All it's got's the ends. It comes over like this, and then that downdraft wants to pull it back down. You see what I'm saying? And this traps the warm air right here, going in a circle over and over again. I run my hammock where I am just touching the ground. I'm just above the ground that much. And then I'll make a leaf bed underneath me to trap that warm air. And I'm not in contact with the ground. But my body heat can heat those leaves and things and create a pocket of warm air on my back. So I'm not there. Now, at the same time, I fire out here in front of me. I do this at an angle to the wind so the smoke goes one way or the other but doesn't come straight back toward me. But that radiated heat is coming in from a Siberian log fire, coming in, and it's trapped in here. This makes a very secure shelter. This was just a poncho, U.S. Army poncho, and a long cord to make a double ridgeline. Changes this from such a simple little lean-to into a much more versatile shelter. Now, set up, it can't be easier. You just need a cord long enough, and this could be a piece of bank line that you're carrying or paracord that you just run around tight, but before you pull it tight, pull one side lower than the other so that that's the downhill to the back. Should it rain, rain will come off of this because this is it's still at an angle. It won't puddle up here so much, but this is really meant to be a winter set. This is set up for when I'm trying to capture that warm air from a fire to keep me warm during the night. So, to recap, like I did in that earlier video, but I did not use the double ridge line. I want you to see the double ridge line and its advantages. It's wider up here to make more headroom, so I'm sitting up perfectly calm right now, and I can move around, and I ain't got this narrow V that my head's touching both sides. See, I can put my full lengthways. It brings the front down to help capture some of that heat and trap any moisture, any heat radiating in here into this circle. And I have actually seen it where it would get into, depending on the weather conditions, etc. You get a little puff of smoke and you watch the smoke do this. But to prevent it being real smoky, I want the wind flowing one way or another side to me. Not truly sideways, because the heat would come through here and blow out my warmth, wouldn't it? I want it coming from like this back corner going that way. So my shelter's sort of diagonal to the dominant wind. So it comes over this way and it goes that way. That will draft away the smoke, but it'll trap the warm air from a nice big Siberian fire. It's going to radiate the heat. I'll get a nice sleep. I'll wake up every 2-3 hours and have to restoke up my Siberian log fire to get it going again, answer nature's call, chug a little warm water, and lay back down and go back to sleep. I'll only have to get up a couple times during the night. Makes sense, huh? Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please leave some comments and questions below. And a like, share, and subscribe would be wonderful. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.